Have you ever looked at somebody who's hyper successful at whether it be at academia, whether it be at music, whether it be at sports or some other endeavor, and they do things that look impossible while at the same time making them look effortless? It's like what that person just did, what that person just said, what I just saw with my own eyes look like that would be impossible for me, but they made it look like they could do it as easily as taking a nap. But then other people, you look at them, and they live on the struggle bus their entire life. It's like every time you see them, they're in desperation. Every time you see them, they're in trauma. Every time you see them, they're in drama. And it's not like they go back and forth. It's not like, well, one day it's success and the other day it's struggle, and one day it's trauma and the next day it's destiny. No, it's like people are in a lane. And the people you know are in a lane. And sometimes you feel like you're in a lane, and sometimes you're in a lane that you like being in, and other times, if I could just change lanes, can I get a witness? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to endeavor to show you the reason that is the way that is, so you, everybody tap yourself on the chest, say me, so that you can do something about it. Man, I'm so jacked for you. So I discovered this in a conversation with a coaching client probably 20 years ago. I was talking to one of my clients, and I said, how's business? And they said, I'm really trying. And I immediately thought, that's fascinating, because I am not really trying. And I was succeeding at what to me at that time felt like a very high level, right? I might have been making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, which was way more money than anybody I had ever known in my entire life growing up had ever made, right? And business wasn't a struggle, and there was no trying, and I wasn't trying to get clients, and I wasn't trying to generate leads, and I wasn't trying to be profitable, and I wasn't trying not to fail, but it was just all happening. And so I was a little confused by the disparity between what they said and what I was experiencing in my own life. So I called one of my coaches. I called Jerry Clark. I said, Jerry, I want to ask you a question. It's going to sound crazy, but I have to ask you because I just had this experience, and I'll tell you what it is later. But I said, are you trying to succeed? And I'm going to quote him. He said, trying to succeed? I'm not trying to succeed. And I thought, that's what I thought. So here's the crux of everything I'm going to share with you today. People who are succeeding in any area of life are not trying to succeed any more than people who are failing in life are trying to fail. In both cases, it's automatic. That's why I'm going to talk to you today about automatic success secrets revealed. How do I go from a person who automatically struggles, who lives a life in automatic trauma and automatic drama, automatic difficulty, always trying? Here's what I found out. People who are failing are trying to succeed. Did you hear what I just said? In fact, not all people, some people who are failing, they're holding on to that because that's the only way they can get attention. But there are some people, many people, maybe even most people who are struggling. They are trying to succeed. So what that tells me is a couple things. Number one, that maybe trying to succeed is a contributing factor to failure. Maybe.
Can you say that again?
Maybe trying to succeed is a contributing factor to failure.
Wow.
Whereas it's not a contributing factor to success. It's going to make, I know you're a little confused right now by what I'm saying, but that's not unintentional. Because if I can rearrange the furniture in your head a little bit, you won't know your way around, so you won't be able to find your way back to those familiar places that allow you to stay stuck like Chuck in a pickup truck. And so in order to understand, we've heard the phrase mindset. right? And I've even said MS times SS times TS equals assets, and income follows assets. Y'all heard me say that before, right? So MS, mindset, times skill set times tool set equals assets, and income follows assets. But nobody ever, like, when's the last time somebody told you what mindset really is? What is mindset? Well, before I can help you understand, in other words, everybody has a mindset. Everybody, you already have a mindset. You don't need a mindset. You already have a mindset. The question is, what is your mindset for? What is it set at? Like the temperature in here is very comfortable for me, probably slightly uncomfortable for you. But when I came in, I knew we were going to have a lot of people in here today. And so I set the temperature at 70 degrees so it could cool off before y'all brought all that Florida heat in here. Right? And so that I wouldn't be so hot up here that I can't teach thinking, why is it so hot? Why is it so hot? But I set the thermostat in advance, and then it produces the result. I don't have to keep going back there. I don't have to keep and putting it on 70, putting it on 70. I put it on 70 once. And the regulator in that thermostat is going to maintain 70 degrees in this room, regardless of how many people we bring in here within reason. Right? And so what we have to do is we have to figure out, we have to understand that just like that thermostat has a set temperature we can set it on, but it has to be done intentionally. Like if I go back there and close my eyes and start pushing buttons, I have no earthly idea what it's going to be set at. So I can't rinse and repeat it because I don't even know what it was in the first place. Right? So I had to determine before I went to the thermostat what I was going to set it at before I set it, so that I could trust that when I set it, it would be set. The same thing is true with our mind. But in order for me to set my mind at a set that will produce success, what is success? Okay, thank you for asking that question. I'm going to give you the best definition of success I've ever discovered. Success is discovering the purpose for which you were created. Developing yourself for that purpose, so you can fulfill it. And then deploying yourself in that purpose. Now, oftentimes that turns into money. Many times. I don't know if it's most times because I haven't measured, so I can't say that, but many times that turns into money. Sometimes it doesn't, though. And if I had to choose, and I'm glad I don't, but if I had to choose whether to be successful or to make a lot of money, I would choose to be successful. And then I would trust that the money would come. Are y'all tracking? They're not diametrically opposed to each other unless for your particular assignment, they're diametrically opposed for each other. But for most people, they're not diametrically opposed like people think. So I don't have to do something underhanded and mistreat people in order to make money. All I have to do is become successful, discover the purpose for which I was created, develop myself for that purpose, deploy myself in that purpose. Okay. So in order for me to set my mind, I have to understand the functions of my minds. Did y'all hear what I just said? I have to understand the functions of my minds. I didn't say the function of my mind. I said the functions of my minds. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to draw something on the board that I've never drawn before. So I'm going to make the body bigger, the head bigger, because it's me. Okay, sorry. Y'all get that one on the way home. Okay. So what happens, we hear people talk about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. But when we hear somebody say the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, let me ask you a question. Does that conjure up a picture for you, yes or no? Yeah. Does it really? It doesn't conjure up one for me. It's just words. What do you see? Tell me what you see. I don't know. What do you see?
I see basically your spinal cord, everything.
Yeah, but that's your brain. I'm not talking about a brain. I'm talking about your mind. See, okay, so let's talk about the difference. Let's talk about the difference between the brain and the mind. Let's talk about that for a second. The brain is an organ in your head. The mind, your mind, is in every cell in your body. Are you tracking? So your mind, I believe that your mind is contributed to, for lack of a better way to say it, by your body, mind, by your body, your will, and your emotions. It's how you relate to things and physicality. Your mind is like your soul. It's the part of you that relates to physicality and spirituality. It's kind of a bridge between physicality and spirituality. Are y'all tracking? Okay. But the mind, as we call it, let's separate it into, they call it subconscious, so I'm going to make it horizontal. So this up here would be the conscious, what so-called conscious mind. This would be, down here, would be the subconscious mind. Okay, but I'm not going to use that term because the reason I'm not going to use that term, conscious mind, is because it doesn't conjure up a picture. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to call this mind here, we're going to call this the manual mind, and we're going to call this the automatic mind. Automatic. This is the automatic mind. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Success and failure are always, everybody say always, are always determined by your automatic mind. But here's the problem. If you did not intentionally set your automatic mind for a particular outcome, who did? Because it is set. Oh, snap. Can somebody pick up the pieces of my brain off the floor and bring them to me, please? If you did not intentionally set your automatic mind for automatic success, is it possible that someone or several someones who did not have your best interest in mind set your automatic mind for automatic failure for you, but automatic success for them? Isn't that what happened to the children of Israel when they were in Egypt? Hey, guess what? Their body came out of Egypt and their mind was still there. That's why they wanted to go back. Their body came out of Egypt, but their mind was still there. That's why they couldn't go into the promised land. That's why an 11-day journey took them 40 years. Let me ask you a question. Is your mind being stuck in the programming that was created by the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism in the past? Is that what's causing your 11-day journey to take 40 years? I ain't swinging too fast, am I? I didn't mean to come out swinging like this morning, but I've been thinking about y'all. Can y'all tell I've been thinking about y'all? Hey, the bad news is your mind has been set. And the other bad news is you didn't set it. The good news is you can. You can march in there. It's so funny because when we were growing up, my dad could have the temperature set at something. And if we were too hot or too cold and we changed it while he was sleeping and he woke up, who changed that thermostat? Right? Just like my dad was protective of the temperature of our house, the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism that programmed you to serve it at your own expense gets frustrated, irritated, aggravated, sometimes even violent when you go touch the thermostat of your own automatic mind. Okay, I feel like y'all tracking. I feel like y'all picking up what I'm putting down. So now that the foundation hath been laid, whereas heretofore the foundation hath been laid. Okay, you must understand the functions of your minds. First and foremost, you must understand the function of your manual mind. The manual mind is responsible for two things: preparation and protection. You make your decisions in your manual mind. If you allow your manual mind to predominantly focus on protection, and you don't examine the thing it's protecting, it will protect you from things that would benefit you. Moses came and said to the children of Israel, Like, why are you treating your brother this way? And they said, who made you a God over us? They misunderstood him. Are y'all tracking? See, what we don't realize is protection works against preparation. Because protection is to keep me safe in my current environment. Preparation is to transport me to a new environment. And the new environment that I desire in my soul to go to, my conscious mind, my manual mind says, yeah, I know, but what if it don't work? What if I leave here and I can't get over there? What if I get on the bridge and the bridge falls down? Are y'all tracking? What if I start a business and the business fails? 80% of businesses fail within the first 3, and we have all of the statistics stacked up in our manual mind to protect us from the negative outcomes that the people who programmed our negative mind, our manual mind, told us are possible if we escape the clutches of their programming. That's why so many people believe so many things that are false. Time is money. A hard day's work for a hard day's pay. 8 hours work for 8 hours pay. Whatever that means. All that stuff that we bought into. So it's going to either protect you or it's going to prepare you. Like, you can decide. The manual mind is responsible for decisions. So you can decide. It's by the way, this is the hard part. You can decide that you are going to go against the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism that has programmed you to be sick, broke, misinformed, and fearful. And you are going to fly in the face of it, and you're going to go in a totally different direction, but know that you are going to be challenged thereby. But you can still do it. It's not going to be easy. It's just going to be worth it. Do you understand that the reason our manual mind oftentimes protects us from making decisions that are in our own best interest is because the beliefs we hold to be true in our current state, we got them from somebody who loved us, but they were as lost as we are. I'm talking about daddy them, mama them, grandmama them. I'm talking about our college professors and our high school teachers. I'm talking about pastors and Sunday school teachers and youth directors. I'm talking about friends and bosses and coworkers. I'm talking about husbands and wives and children and parents. Because if I abandon the thing they gave me, they're going to feel like I abandoned them. If I don't sing the same song and march to the beat of the same drummer that they are singing to and marching to, they are going to feel like I abandoned them, and then they are going to abandon me. And what can I do out there in the world by myself? I don't know. Ask Joseph. What can you do in a world by yourself, all alone, misunderstood, mistreated? So understand that the manual mind's functions, the responsibility of the manual mind, preparation and protection. Let me ask you a question. By the way, do you understand that's the meaning of a stronghold? What's a stronghold? Casting down imagination, every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing every thought into captivity. What is a stronghold? A stronghold are the walls of protection that we build around a lie in our mind. That's what a stronghold is. But the scripture says the only thing that can tear down that wall is the truth of God can tear down those strongholds. But we have to understand what the truth is. Knowing about the truth is not the same as knowing the truth. Knowing that it exists is not the same as knowing how to execute it. Can I get a witness? Well, that's the purpose of the manual mind. The purpose of the automatic mind and its functions, it's responsible for production. The automatic mind is only supposed to do one thing. Whatever you set it to. But the manual mind has to set it. You're making my brain sweat. I had to make a decision a long time ago that I was okay being misunderstood and thought of as pompous and arrogant and obtuse. I even got a witness from the baby. And I had to be okay with being misunderstood. Some of us desire acceptance so much that we cannot please God nor serve people. The automatic mind's job is responsible for producing results, period. That's all it does. If I'm flying a plane, like I'm flying a plane, and all of a sudden we get to our desired altitude, and we're going to be at that altitude for the next hour, and we're going to be in that same airspace for the next hour. Guess what I can do? I can turn on the automatic pilot. Then all I have to do is look around and make sure everything's okay. It's requiring no effort from me. Now, if I'm flying in turbulence and maintaining an altitude, so people don't realize that all the stuff that you have to maintain and keep level intentionally, right? But if you're in some weather, it doesn't even have to be a storm. It doesn't have to be in clouds. You might be able to see, but there's a lot of turbulence and planes bouncing everywhere. You have to maintain your altitude because that's what air traffic is. You have to fly at a certain height that's in between the height that other planes are flying at. Then you have to maintain a certain speed. And so they tell you, the control tower tells you what speed to fly at and what altitude to fly at and what heading to head on. And you have to make sure all of those things stay maintained. And so you're even like if you're setting the trim so you don't have to work so hard, you're always moving stuff and setting stuff and looking around and checking your instruments and looking outside. It's like this is what you're doing all the time. And you're in a long flight and you're going between airspaces and different altitudes and stuff changing for weather. It's mentally exhausting. You set that thing on autopilot, man, it's cake. It's a cake. It's a piece of cake. Just looking around, just making sure everything's okay. Wouldn't it be nice to get to the place in your life where the results you're producing in your business are on autopilot? You just set it. You don't set it and forget it, but you set it and then you get it. Because that's the purpose of the automatic mind. So you have the automatic mind, which the manual mind's job is to protect and to prepare. The automatic mind is to produce a result. The unification of your two minds in the right order is for progression, what does that mean? How do I unify my two minds? And you have to unify them in the right order, because here's what's going to happen. You are either going to use your manual mind to pull your automatic mind back down into struggle mode, or you are going to use your automatic mind to elevate your manual mind so that the manual mind works for the automatic mind instead of the other way around. So when you start, the manual mind's in control. You make a decision. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Everything I'm going to do is going to be in this lane, and I'm not going to deviate from it. I was having a conversation with one of my business partners this morning on a software company that we own. And so there's this company that wanted a proof of concept. So we sent them the proposal for the proof of concept. It was more than they expected to pay. They're like, hey, can we get an itemization of this? I'm like, okay. I said, if you're okay with them walking away, because I'm okay with them walking away, what I will tell them is this is the itemization. You are probably looking for an itemization for individual components of our offer. But what you don't understand is that what we are offering you is not a bunch of components. We are not offering you a bunch of pieces. We're not offering you a product. We're not offering you a process. We are offering you a payoff. And the itemization is this. If you say yes to our offer or give us a reasonable counter, you get the payoff. If you say no to our offer and don't give us a reasonable counter, you are saying no to your payoff. That's the itemization. And I'm okay with they walk away because I understand the software that we have. There are companies out there we could take it to and get hundreds of millions of dollars for, and I don't need the short-term money. This company's paying us for the proof of concept. Just because you can't swim doesn't mean I have to come play in the kiddie pool with you. Okay. So you have to unify your two minds in this way. Watch this now. You have to unify your two minds in this way. Make sure you recruit the manual mind to work for the automatic mind and not the other way around. Because if you do it the other way around and you make the manual mind keep on setting the thermostat at protection, you're going to be in the same place for the rest of your life. If the decisions you are making don't cause you to feel uncomfortable, out of control, like the plane might crash, you will not access the level of creativity that's necessary for you to move to the next level. You are blocking yourself from it and going through life believing that someone else is blocking you from it. So that's first. You have to perceive the functions of your mind. You must prepare the facilitation of your methods. What does that mean? Prepare the facilitation of your methods. Hey, you can have all the mindset in the world you want to, but you better develop a skill set. You better go do something. You better learn how to put a nail in a board. You better learn how to put some code in a computer. You better learn how to have a conversation with somebody who can say yes to an offer. You better learn something. How many of y'all tracking? Okay, so you must prepare the facilitation of your methods. What does that mean? That means whatever your area of service, expertise is, you spend 4 to 10 times as much time preparing as you do performing. Because that's the only way to be a pro at anything. Like I do my challenge, and it's so interesting. Like I'm doing my challenge right now, and we have an hour of Q&A from entrepreneurs from all over the world with different kinds of businesses. But I've been studying business and applying principles to my business for decades. I was preparing for you before you showed up. That people are like, how does he know the answer? Somebody commented one time, Myron's AI. I'm not AI. I'm RI. I'm real intelligence. What does that mean? That means I've spent decades learning and applying these principles and then observing the feedback and then making adjustments based on the feedback I've gotten. I'm not making it up. People, how does he make that up on the fly? I'm not making it up on the fly. I'm going into the archives and pulling out something I've already experienced. Why? Because I've spent 4 to 10 times as much time preparing to do what I do as I do doing what I do. I don't understand why every time he talks, it sounds like something different, but the same thing in a different way. Because this is all I've thought about for the last 30 years. If you think about something for 30 years, you're going to have a couple ways to say it. 4 to 10 times as much time preparing as you do performing. You practice the components of your methodology for the purpose of mastery. You practice the components of your methodology for the purpose of mastery. See, here's the big problem with most people in business. Most people, or I won't say most because I haven't measured it. Many people. Here's the problem. The reason people don't want to do business with you is because you're just not good. Please say it. Now, just because you're not good now doesn't mean you have to be not good forever. Like you can get better, but you're not going to get better incidentally. You're going to get better intentionally, eventually, but not incidentally. And so you have to start with a decision, don't you? Like, here's the reality. People are like, I don't know why nobody's listening to me. I don't know why nobody's following me. I don't know. Because you ain't good. By the way, I'm not patting myself on the back saying I'm good. Here's what I'm saying. I've spent decades of my life working on getting better. And I may not be good yet, but I'm better than I was. And the stuff I know that I teach people helps people. And I know that it'll help them before I give it to them because I've already done it and I don't teach theory. You want people to show up for you and you don't even show up for you. Well, I'm going to do what Myron does. Well, you can say what I said. But that ain't the same thing as doing what I've done. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you an observation. My gravitropic roots are 2 to 3 times deeper than my phototropic fruits. My tree is way deeper than you can see. Not because I'm so deep, but because I spend way more time studying than I do talking. Way more time. Way more time applying than I do pontificating. You want to go read a half of a book, understand 3 of the paragraphs, and then come back and do a dissertation. Okay. Sorry. You practice the components for the purpose of mastery. Amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. Which one are you going to be? Professional or an amateur? Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to get out there in the marketplace, you're going to start making noise, and people are going to show up. And either you've prepared and they show up so you can show out, or you didn't prepare and they show up and you'll be showed up. Congratulations, your reputation preceded you and exceeded you. Then you practice the combinations of those individual masteries for the purpose of mastery stacking. Here's why people who are great and make things look effortless make them look effortless. Because they've mastered one component at a time. They didn't attempt to master all the components at the same time. In basketball, they mastered dribbling, then they mastered passing, and then they mastered shooting. They didn't master all of them at the same time. In golf, you want to be good at golf? Master putting. Then work your way back and master chipping. And then work your way back and master your short irons. Then work your way back and master your mid irons. Then work your way back and master your long irons. Then work your way back and master your woods. You want to master business? Start out by mastering lead generation and delivering something for free that's so valuable they would not have been disappointed if they had paid you for it. Master that. And when you have the attention of a bunch of people who you've already helped for free, you offer them something for pay, and this is what they will say to themselves. If this person helped me this much for free, I can only imagine what they'll do if I pay them. By the way, I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm showing y'all the real for real for real. This is not theory. This is what I do. And when you practice mastery stacking, like very few, you master lead generation. Then you master sales. Then you master marketing. Then you master branding. You master fulfillment. You master building teams and hiring people and managing money and paying people so the outgo doesn't exceed the income, so the upkeep doesn't become the downfall. You just keep on adding mastery after mastery after mastery after mastery. Before you know it, you've got this ginormous, well-oiled machine that works so seemingly effortlessly from the outside looking in that people look at you and think, oh my goodness, how does that even happen? You started with one mastery at a time. And then you must produce the fruit for your market. The whole purpose of the manual mind and the automatic mind, and then unifying those minds together with mastery, is to produce a fruit, something that the market desires. So you must produce fruit for your market. The fruit must be fruit they desire. Here's why so many businesses fail. They produce the fruit they want to produce and not the fruit the market wants to pay for. Like, I only sell stuff people want to buy. But Myron, you don't understand. I've got a great story and I want to tell my story. Great. Then you and your mom will read about it. And she will not want to read about it. She'll just read about it because you're her baby. Like, nobody cares. Like, somebody has to tell you the truth. I'm not being mean. Nobody cares about my story either. But Myron, from the trash man to the cash manager story? No, it's not. From the trash man to the cash. See, it seems like the title is from the trash man to the cash man, but I'm going to tell you all a little secret. The title is the subtitle, and the subtitle is actually the title. What's the subtitle? How anyone can get rich starting from anywhere. That's what the book's about. The book's not about me. The book's about you. The only reason I even talk about me is because everybody believes they're smarter than the trash man. If the trash man got rich, I know I'm going to get rich. Yeah, y'all picking it up. So you produce a fruit they desire, but you only promise to produce a fruit that you can deliver. If you promise to produce a fruit and they pay you for it and you can't deliver, all you're doing is showing everybody the scam artist that you are. There are a lot of them out there. Make you a whole lot of inflated promises. When it comes time to deliver, you can't find them. And if you perceive the fruit they desire and produce the fruit that you deliver to them, then they will deliver the fruitfulness of profit to you and your business. And that is how you have automatic success. Thanks for watching. Appreciate y'all. I hope this video blesses you beyond measure.